Most of us living in the US have eaten strawberry shortcake. It's a classic summertime dessert. As much as I love strawberries, blueberries are at the top of my list of favorite fruits. So one day I thought, why not a blueberry shortcake? Have you ever thought about blueberry shortcake? Well, here it is. I'm really excited to share my fun take on a strawberry shortcake. The blueberry shortcake recipe I'm sharing is a variation of my favorite strawberry shortcake trifle. It consists of layers of angel food cake, a sweet blueberry glaze, and a creamy, sweet cream cheese custard layer. The blue is fun, and your kids will get a kick out of the blue gelatin mixed with the berries. For the ingredients, you'll need an angel food cake, store-bought or homemade. I'm using homemade. For the blueberry glaze, you'll need sugar, salt, cornstarch, berry blue gelatin, like Jell-O, water, vanilla, and blueberries. I prefer frozen blueberries that have been thawed because the liquid from the frozen will help to darken the Jell-O as you stir it. For the custard, you'll need cream cheese, sweetened condensed milk, and whipped topping. We begin by making the blueberry glaze. So in a large saucepan, you're going to add 200 grams of granulated sugar, which is 1 cup. To that, we're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're going to add 48 grams of cornstarch, and that is 1/4 cup plus 3 tablespoons. We're going to add 80 grams of berry blue gelatin. This is a Jell-O brand, and it is 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons. Give it a quick whisk. Heat your saucepan on medium-high heat, and let's add 2 cups, which is 16 ounces of water. And look how berry blue that is. It's like an ocean blue. It'll darken up once we add in the blueberries. We're gonna whisk frequently until the mixture thickens, and this will take about 10 minutes. So notice right now our Jell-O is a little bit cloudy because of the cornstarch. So as the mixture heats up and begins to boil, that white cornstarch will blend in with the gelatin, and it'll sort of appear to be clear, and we'll have a clearer blue color. Then the mixture will thicken after a couple more minutes, and it'll be done. So for this recipe, we are making a glaze, but we're using Jell-O for it. We don't want that jiggly Jell-O texture for this recipe. We want more of a thick consistency glaze. So that's why we add the cornstarch to this recipe, because we want to have some depth, some texture, and that's what the cornstarch will do. Notice how the cornstarch has dissolved, and it's more of a clear color now, our gelatin. Now I can tell when my gelatin is ready, when it's thickened enough, because I could feel a lot more resistance stirring this Jell-O than I did before. You can also lift up your whisk and look how it just hangs on the whisk, the gelatin does. You can also run your spoon through the gelatin and lift it up, and notice how there's a thick coating of gelatin on it, so it tells us that our gelatin is ready. So we want to take it off the heat. I love a vanilla flavor with my blueberries, so I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Stir that in or whisk it in. We want to set the gelatin aside. We do not want to put in the refrigerator because we do not want it to really congeal. We just want it to cool for about an hour, and then we're going to add in our blueberries. So you can leave it in a saucepan if you want and just sit it on a pot holder, or if you want it to cool just a little bit faster, then just pour it in another bowl and then set it aside. In the meantime, let's make the custard. So in a large bowl, we're going to whip up 8 ounces, which is 1 package of cream cheese. We're going to use an electric mixer. Notice it's at room temperature, so it smooths out pretty quickly. Then we're going to pour in 1 can, which is 14 ounces of sweetened condensed milk. This is not evaporated milk. This is sweetened condensed, so it's condensed milk that has lots of sugar in it. We want that sweet, sweet, sugary goo in this recipe. It's also much thicker than a evaporated milk. Then use your mixer again and just blend it till both the cream cheese and the sweetened condensed milk are smooth. Okay, notice the cream cheese is all smoothed out and mixed in well with the sweetened condensed milk. Finally, we're going to add 12 ounces of whipped topping. Just make sure it's thawed. I prefer the So Cocoa Whip, which is a coconut flavored whip, but you don't taste the coconut in this recipe. You can, of course, use Cool Whip. I've used that a lot of times, or True Whip, whatever brand you prefer. Now, my containers come in 9 ounces, 8 to 9 ounces. So if you can buy a 12-ounce container, just use that. You just need 12 ounces. But if you have a container that's less than that, then buy 2, and you're going to use a whole of one and then use half of the other. So we just want to scoop that in, and you can eyeball the half of the other. And then just fold in the whipped topping with the sweetened condensed milk and the cream cheese. You don't want to stir it. We want to try to keep this whipped topping somewhat aerated, but it's ultimately going to deflate a little bit. Good enough. We're just going to set this aside until we're ready to assemble our trifle. If you haven't already, go ahead and cut up your angel food cake into bite-sized pieces. I like bite-sized pieces because I like for the glaze and the cream to ooze down and around the pieces. So for me, that's a good size for your trifle. So your blueberry glaze should have cooled. Notice that's a pretty bright blue. If you want to darken that blueberry color, squeeze some blueberries so that you're releasing some of those juices. And so the darker color of your blueberries will help to dye and color, darken the actual Jell-O itself. And then go ahead and stir in your blueberries. I do like to use frozen blueberries that are thawed because they will bleed some of that blue color into the Jell-O. And then just stir your blueberries in. And if you're not a big fan of that ocean blue Jell-O as far as color is concerned, the blueberries will sort of darken it for you. Your kids will love the blue. And we have 4 cups of blueberries, which is 2 pints. And I find that enough for this trifle dish. All right, time to layer and assemble the dessert. Now you could use individual trifle dishes and make us maybe several individual dishes and then put the rest in a big trifle dish, or you can go straight to the big trifle dish and then just for serving purposes scoop it out into the little serving dishes. Okay, so we're going to start with a layer of cake on the bottom of your trifle dish, and basically you just want to put enough to cover the bottom because it's fluffy cake, so it's, you know, there's going to be a lot of cake taste with the mix of everything else because it is a pretty fluffy one. Okay, so then we're gonna layer our blueberry glaze. We're gonna make 3 layers. So you wanna sort of divide, try to eyeball 3 layers of your cream, your gelatin, and your cake. And then so you can see the blue, can push it up against the edge of the bowl, so it's visible. So we're at a second layer there. Now we're gonna add 1/3 of the cream and just cover up the blueberry glaze. And again, pushing it against the bowl so you can see that layer of cream. Okay, now we're gonna repeat 2 more times. So add a layer of cake, add another layer of blueberry glaze. Okay, add another 1/3 of the cream. Okay, we're gonna add our last layer of cake. Our last layer of blueberry. Okay, we're gonna finish off with our final layer of custard. For a large trifle, you can do 3 layers of each. For small trifle dishes, 2 layers of each are gonna be about all you can get in a small serving dish. There we have it. So we can garnish the top. So if you saved a few blueberries, then you can just stack a few there in the center to show exactly what's in this trifle. Final touches are added. This is just a fun take on a strawberry shortcake. We can see the layer of cake. We have a layer of the glaze, layer of cream, cake, glaze, cream, cake, glaze, and cream. 3 layers. That's a fun dessert, isn't it? It'd be great for the 4th of July or any time of year where you just kind of want something a little different that's not a strawberry shortcake but still serves the purpose of a sweet treat. So this is a great way to use up those fresh blueberries, or using up frozen blueberries any time of year you can make this. Store the dessert covered in the fridge for up to a week. I love this fun take on a traditional strawberry shortcake. You could also use a basic white cake in this recipe in place of the angel food cake. That makes an even more indulgent dessert. If you're looking for a different take on a traditional strawberry shortcake, give this one a try. You won't be disappointed. Your kids will love the blue. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. Until next time, go bake the world.